You know that feeling when you finally get your dream house and then decide to completely destroy it? That's exactly where I am right now. Matt Armstrong here. And 1 year ago, we built the ultimate man cave called the paddock. Now we're back, and honestly, they've wrecked the place. Electric's off, debris everywhere. Should we even go inside? This door here, it's kind of the front door. Everyone uses it even though the official entrance is somewhere else on the bottom floor. This house is 3 stories of absolute chaos, and it used to be a chapel. Don't worry. We're keeping the tiles and stained glass because some things are too beautiful to destroy. Here's the problem. When people come over, and sometimes with a lot of people, everybody ends up crammed into this tiny space like sardines. Meanwhile, we've got this massive room that just sits there empty. That's what keeps me up at night, seeing wasted potential. Follow me through. This house doesn't make logical sense. It goes up when you expect down, turns left when right seems obvious. This room right here is one of the biggest spaces in the entire house. Look at this view. We got this enormous window opening to the countryside, rolling hills, and open sky. And what's sitting in front of it? One lonely table nobody ever uses. Standing here, I can feel how cold it is. Over there is an outdated utility room, and tucked in the corner is a toilet. But here's where my brain works differently. While everyone else sees a cold, underused dining room, I see the most amazing kitchen you've ever laid eyes on. Those doors open the garden with that view right there. Instead of everyone sardined into the smallest room, imagine them spread out here, cooking together, laughing, actually using the space properly. That's why the Home Improvement Channel is here. We're building a dream kitchen from scratch, and we've given ourselves 1 month. When I say out loud, it sounds absolutely insane. Walls need to come down, floors need to go in, and I keep making it worse by adding things. Hannah's been here an hour and already added underfloor heating. Let's stop talking and start doing. We're removing 2 walls, but behind them sits a utility room and bathroom that need complete decommissioning first. There are 2 types of builders in this world. People like Peter who approach everything with calm precision, and people like Liam. For some people, destruction is pure fun. While Peter's being careful, working through technical details with patience, Liam's throwing a demolition party on the other side. Even Hannah's joined Team Demolition, which tells you everything about how satisfying this is. We had structural engineers assess these existing steel beams. Their verdict? They need to go. All of them. We're installing a new beam that spans a full width. If you've never watched before, that's Dan from DB Builders and his brother Aaron helping with the structural work. There's a support pier here holding the beams, but it's doing absolutely nothing structurally, so it's coming down. When Dan says we're knocking it down, he means I'm knocking it down. It might look reckless, but we know exactly what we're doing. I know it doesn't look that way. So please don't start smashing walls randomly at home. Structural integrity isn't a suggestion. Right now we're trying to isolate the water supply. Me and Pete found the main stopcock and locked it off. Oh, God, I didn't mean to do that. We locked off the water, but Pete, the pressure isn't stopping. Oh my God, that's intense. Not good. We're going to have to search elsewhere, probably out front. I have no idea what that valve controls. We're desperately trying to find the main water shutoff. Hopefully it's outside the original front door. Time to use the world's biggest key. Hopefully we can find it out here. Nothing so far. Brilliant. We're hoping we don't terrify the gardener. Have you seen a water stopcock anywhere? Lucky for us, Danny the gardener was around and helped track it down. It looks quick in this footage, but it took 45 minutes of searching. If this man finds a stopcock, give him a follow on Instagram. It's DJ's Garden Maintenance. We would have never found it, buried completely under the grass. High five, Danny, you're a legend. Now, Pete can remove the rest of the plumbing. Dan and the crew remove this wall section. Our friend at DB Builders is charging right through plasterboard. If he makes it without injury, subscribe to his channel. Oh my God, he did it. Don't try this at home. Danny's being reckless, but successfully removing the wall. Another wall separating the utility from the toilet comes down. Always make certain any wall you're removing isn't load-bearing. Before tackling the main wall, there are loads of electrical cables needing exposure. Liam's handling all electrical work, and it's extensive because we're starting from scratch. This building's been updated so many times it's better to strip everything and rebuild properly. What happens next? Flooring up, ceilings down, cupboards ripped out. We need to strip this space to bare bones. Let's make it happen. This is when it becomes clear the kitchen isn't the main project. We're completely redesigning the structural opening, removing steel beams, stripping all plasterboard to create one cohesive space. Aaron, what happened? Short to neutral. It went bang bang. I left for 5 minutes and came back to find the electricity was off. Dan cut through a cable. Look at that. At least Liam didn't make drama. He repaired the cable Dan accidentally sliced through. To be fair, it wasn't in the proper zone. We attempted preserving the insulation above, but it kept falling out. That's getting replaced. I'm draining these radiator connections. Actually, the whole house system. We're removing all radiators here because we're installing underfloor heating. Pete's removing radiators while we rip up this engineered oak floor. It's quality material, but its time has come. Normally, these are nightmares to remove, but this came up surprisingly easily. Pete, who started methodically, has fully converted to team demolition. We've lifted all the flooring and revealed a serious problem. Dan, demonstrate what's wrong by hitting the floor. That's not good at all. Joe from Screed Puppy specializes in this. Obviously, we've discovered hollow spots throughout. All of this has to be replaced. So what's the plan? Rip up the entire floor. When tackling major renovations, discovering additional problems isn't uncommon. You're always uncovering extra work beneath the surface. We accomplished a lot already. 1 day in, and they've completely demolished the place. Literally wrecked it. Basically, we knocked out the entire utility, removed the toilet, disconnected all plumbing. I also sliced through an electrical wire, which created an internet outage. So what happens next? One massive steel beam goes in, then we eliminate this wall completely. Hopefully we get our functional kitchen before Christmas. There's going to be water. No, there shouldn't. Oh my God. Oh no. Everyone stood back. Now that I've disconnected the plumbing, it's like removing your thumb from a straw full of water. Draining into what? A handy folding bucket, of course. We might need another one. Small leak, nothing we can't handle. Just a minor flood situation. You can tell he's experienced because Matt didn't panic. Crisis averted. We're removing more ceiling structures. They were all at different heights, but now we want completely flat ceilings. We're removing everything, including random bulkheads, hiding pipework. Pete's relocating all pipework, so ceilings can be clean and flat. The 2 pipes he's cutting are the main flow and return from the boiler. They need repositioning. That's all old pipework removed. Now I reinstall it properly. This building has had things added over years without planning. Plumbing was attached to the ceiling surface rather than hidden in the floor cavity where it should be. Pete's moving pipework up into floor space. When we install a new ceiling, you won't see any plumbing lines. Pete reconnected plumbing temporarily using push fits because we still need to install the steel beam. We're filling the system so they have heat and hot water. Unfortunately for Brad, the filling loop was up in the loft. I'm bleeding radiators while he's up there. Smart move. Little peace and quiet. Those are nice radiators, but enormous. Bleeding this system takes a while, and we had to repeat it multiple times. While waiting for steel delivery, we're making progress. We're installing 2 acro support props. Once installed, we can safely remove this pier. The original installation used 4 separate beams. We don't understand why, and they're not even matching sizes. By positioning props across each pair, we're supporting the floor above and can remove this pier for our new beam. We're supporting the floor with props on each side. Now we can remove the rest of this pier from top down, the safest approach. As the pier is removed, you can see how expansive the space will be. We're going to host impressive gatherings here. I need to drain the heating again to remove pipework so they can extract the beam. Unfortunately, we can't leave them without heating overnight. We reconnected temporary plumbing each time we leave. It's extra work, but necessary. Plus original pipes routed around the pier that no longer exists. While waiting for delivery, we're installing timber supports underneath ceiling joists so we can position props to hold structure while extracting the beam. Let me explain what this beam does structurally. Above is a living room practically the same size. That beam supports two halves of the floor because these are two separate structures joined in the middle. The steel's arrived. Finally here, we're lifting it off the vehicle. I was considering lifting it myself, but I'll delegate to professionals. We're lifting onto timber supports, sliding it carefully, maneuvering into position to support my living room floor instead of temporary poles. Now that Matt has safety footwear, we can proceed. This wasn't the heaviest beam, but still weighs a couple 100 kilograms. Extreme caution required. Now they're measuring for cutting, because we're behind schedule. We want to start immediately. Rapid Metals could have cut the specifications, but we needed adjustments on site. That consumes time, and we're already behind. The angle grinder's out because the original beam is embedded in the chimney. We're cutting it back, leaving a section there. That's the amount we're removing. Rapid Metals provided a 20% discount code. Check them out, link in description. Back on track finally. With steel cut to final dimensions, we're sliding into position, preparing to lift into our opening. We're removing temporary plumbing Pete installed for the third time. You can see Pete's joy about draining the system again. With steel positioned, Dan and Aaron install additional props, preparing to safely remove old beams. Our rear props were secured. Now bringing in material lifts. We have material lifts ready. These are primary tools for lifting new beams and lowering old ones, acquired from safety lifting equipment. Essentially the only equipment needed. The beam we're installing rests on blocks so we can slide, lift feet underneath, raise all the way up, secure weight, then chip out supporting blocks. Typically these would be on pad stones, but they're just on regular bricks. Not proper practice. This requires extreme caution, ensuring lifts secure beams properly. Once free, we maneuver and extract. Because it was relatively lightweight, we handled it mostly by hand. First beams were removed successfully. Next is more complicated because we're cutting existing beams back to accommodate our new one. Remember that small steel section we cut? This is why. These extend into the fireplace above. We don't want to disturb that area. We're cutting back, ensuring adequate support, then removing two old beams. Old beams were completely removed and cut back. We're lifting onto material lifts. Requires creative maneuvering, but let's mount and lift. We got fortunate because the building opens up slightly behind where we're installing. We lifted the square, then slid horizontally into masonry pockets. Nothing to rest on yet. We raise all the way to the floor above. Steel's elevated, but we need it perfectly parallel with the extension. Taking measurements here and there. Once identical, we raise fully, brick permanently. Project complete. Original beams had 100 millimeters deflection. We want a new one perfectly parallel for a clean professional finish. Now that steel's positioned, I can finally complete plumbing properly. Hopefully absolutely the last time, because if not, I'm losing it. We're searching for new plumbers because we need draining again. Too intimidated to ask Peter. Only joking. We'll make him do it because he's professional. Pete proceeds replumbing for the third time, this time permanently. Connecting all radiators supplying the room above. Obviously not connecting kitchen area pipework, because that's underfloor heating. While Pete handles that, Dan installs brickwork and pad stones properly supporting the beam. Pad stones are large concrete blocks distributing the load. They don't compress like some bricks. One on each end, obviously, with those installed. We're not lowering steel yet, because mortar needs curing. Then we'll install metal shims for the perfect level. Pete's completing plumbing. Plumbing finished. Well done to me. Steel's in position. We're removing obstructing props because we want to dress the floor next. To create working space, we remove prop supporting joists, installed two on steel instead. In the deep section where broken concrete was removed, we're treating it with a grip primer, helping the smoothing compound adhere. Sourced from Enn's Tarmac. This primer's excellent, bonding surfaces as one unified surface. This is one of several pours because the floor ended up quite damaged, filling the deepest section first. Primer fully cured. This is the area we're addressing before leaving. Applying Level It Renovate compound, mixing thoroughly, Filling properly. We've completed extensive flooring and preparation. Never used this compound before, but it flows almost like water while being high build, up to nearly 50 millimeters depth. It flows incredibly easily. Normally we trowel extensively, but it flowed beautifully, so we kept pouring, letting it self-level naturally. This pour was approximately 40 millimeters. First of multiple pours needed for a perfect floor. That's the house completely demolished. Make sure you join the next episode, where we might actually reconstruct it. Not certain yet. For now, see you later. Hit the like button and notification bell for updates to see if we complete this on schedule. Have you discovered the handy folding bucket? You should purchase one.